On April 18, 1943, four teenage boys poached for birds' nests in a gloomy, ancient woodland, hoping to supplement their family's meager meat rations. This was Hagley Wood, part of a sprawling, aristocratic estate in Worcestershire, belonging to Lord Cobham. While exploring, a boy climbed a twisted wych elm and reached into its hollow trunk. He pulled out what he thought was an animal skull, staring into empty eye sockets, surrounded by clumps of human hair and crooked, protruding teeth. After the youngest boy confessed the discovery to his parents, police recovered a near-complete female skeleton from the trunk. Along with the bones, they found a fake gold ring, crepe-soled shoes, and a section of taffeta fabric stuffed deep into the skull's mouth. Pathologist James Webster determined the woman was murdered by suffocation, roughly 18 months earlier. Crucially, the body was forced into the hollow while still warm. Once rigor mortis set in, her limbs would be too stiff to fit inside. This was a contained, perfect crime scene. But the narrow window for concealment meant the killer needed intimate knowledge of these woods to navigate to this specific tree before the body became impossible to move. The estimated time of death was October 1941. At that moment, Britain was enduring the Blitz. With thousands of people displaced or missing in the wreckage of bombed cities, an individual disappearance could easily go unnoticed. Investigators cross-referenced distinct dental records and clothing details with piles of missing persons reports, but they found no matches. The victim remained anonymous. 6 months after the discovery, the silence around the case was broken. Eerie chalk graffiti began appearing on brick walls throughout the West Midlands. The messages asked a haunting question: who put Luabella down the wych elm? Over time, the name was shortened, and the scrawl became a local fixture: who put Bella in the wych elm? By assigning a name to the remains, the anonymous artist pulled the case out of a police file and into the public imagination, creating the foundation for a modern folk legend. 3 specific, macabre details of the crime scene eventually turned this investigation into a magnet for ancient superstitions. The first pillar is the tree itself. While forensics viewed the hollow wych elm as a practical hiding spot, the species carries an eerie reputation in rural England. In 1945, anthropologist Margaret Murray suggested the choice of the tree was deliberate, pointing toward a ritualistic execution. Murray argued that entombing a body within a living trunk was a traditional occult method for trapping a witch's spirit, intended to prevent the victim from using black magic to curse her murderers from the grave. The second pillar was the severed hand. Police found several finger bones scattered some distance from the tree, which investigators attributed to woodland animal scavengers. Murray rejected the animal theory, instead linking the detached limb to the Hand of Glory, a grisly ritual found in European folk magic. In this lore, a severed hand is dried and pickled to serve as a dark magical candle. When lit, the hand is said to grant the power to unlock doors and render anyone who sees it motionless. Because the police had no suspects, the public gravitated toward these dark, ancient explanations. Murray's theories provided a narrative where forensic science had only provided a vacuum. The third pillar is the graffiti itself. Rather than fading away, the messages evolved and migrated as the decades passed. The question eventually found a permanent home on the Wychbury obelisk. This massive stone monument has been repeatedly marked with the same phrase from the 1970s through the 1990s. Later versions of the graffiti show a linguistic shift. The botanical wych elm was replaced with the supernatural wych elm, explicitly favoring the occult narrative. This repetitive writing acts as a modern-day folk incantation. It blurs the line between a killer's taunt and a cultural spell intended to keep the victim's memory alive. The graffiti is the engine of the myth. It ensured Bella was never forgotten, embedding her story into the permanent landscape of West Midlands folklore. The earthly truth behind Bella's identity is likely more mundane. Plausible leads suggested she was a victim of domestic violence or horrible spy ring. One major theory linked her to Josef Jacobs, a German agent executed at the Tower of London in 1941. Jacobs carried a photo of his lover, a cabaret singer named Clara Bowerly, leading some to believe she was the woman in the tree. But the public largely overlooked these earthly possibilities. Why did the witchcraft ritual become the dominant story? In 1943, mass death was a nightly, mechanized occurrence. In a war defined by anonymous slaughter from the sky, a single unexplained murder might have felt like just another statistic. Attributing the murder to an ancient supernatural ritual provided a sense of deliberate, dark purpose. It turned chaotic tragedy into a story with historical roots. Decades ago, the physical evidence, the skeleton and the original police files, mysteriously vanished. Without them, the case can never be forensically resolved. The combination of the tree, the missing hand, and the graffiti has ensured this forgotten casualty remained part of the landscape. She is no longer just an unidentified cold case. She is a permanent piece of West Midlands folklore, a name carved into the local memory.